everybody. Thanks for joining us for Politically Incorrect Knitters. I'm Deplorable Knitter. We have my fabulous work wife, Ann Pinkova, Carol Brown, and we have a new guest tonight. We have Dreaming Tabitha. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And I keep freezing, so sorry. Work around it. So what's new? Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. I think it's been a minute since I've seen you, Carol. So everything good?
It has. Yeah, Eric has kept me super busy, and not that I brought contraband with me, but like I totally got like the print version of like the Ribazine that's coming out, right? I think it's personally one of the best, but I'm also biased because it's got my story in it.
Oh yeah, I love the little spider creature.
Yeah. Oh, do you love him? I love him too. Spengy's like.
The way that somebody was able to make a spider creature look cute always has my admiration. So.
Yeah, when I was talking to Evan about it, it was like, listen, like the goal at the end of the day is to turn it into a plushie, and he was like, I got you, right? He was so good.
That's pure magic. It's almost like Disney magic, being able to take a spider and make it cute.
Mm-hmm. What were you gonna say, DK?
Is this the thing where you had a little article or story in it?
It is totally the thing that I have an article and story in it that I can't show you too much about, but I'm so like into and things like that.
Well, that's very cool. I just, I don't keep up as well on the comic stuff.
I know you don't, but I also respect it because it means you like have other priorities.
You live in the real world.
Yeah, I do.
I wonder what that's like.
That's like my real spiller animal right there. Holy shit.
Normal people are now spirit animals.
It's like I need you to represent me in life, the normal part of life. Whatever the heck I'm doing, it's bad.
We're all living real life. It's just different versions of it, guys. No. Mine happens to be really intense into like cooking dinner at 6 o'clock, which is why we're constantly late on Tuesdays. So
I love it. I love it. You're kind of like, I gotta cook this dinner, and like the feminine part of me is like, I also have to cook dinner.
The feminine part.
It's all good. So, I know Anne met you, Tabitha, at the Comic-Con, right?
Yeah. The craziness of the MegaCon. And I know I'd never seen Anne before, and I'd met several of the Rippaverse people, and she was passing out like some kind of like pamphlet. I almost thought maybe she's just trying to win me to Christ or something. And
maybe I am.
Okay. But I was like, he's already my leader, so it's okay. I'm good. I don't need any more. And then it's like, oh wait, I know those characters. This isn't religious.
That's too funny.
But I just kind of like every now and then, because we were both so busy, and from time to time I was also a gopher, just getting water for some people, and I passed by. I'm like, Ann, you good? You need water? Because I you easily get dehydrated at these things because you're so busy working and you're distracted, and you might even be fangirling over something or someone, and so I was just like, let me take care of the people. Like, you good? You thirsty? You got water?
I was really fangirling when you showed up because like, oh, Tabitha is here. Oh.
Well, I have nice hair.
One of the funny things about going to these events, but it's like, oh, I know you. And it's like, it's also really weird that I know you, but I know you.
Oh, yeah. Meeting people off of the internet is one of the weirdest experiences I've had so far, where it's like, even meeting like a celebrity or something like that, because it's so strange because you quote unquote grow up with these people.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've seen them your whole life and you feel like you know them because especially if it's like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, because he's literally the same person in every film, like Harrison Ford.
So, no, I saw Red One. He didn't raise the eyebrow one.
It's true. But maybe he's growing as a person. But it's like you meet them though, and then you realize this is a complete stranger. Like I don't actually know you. And it's the same thing with meeting the internet people. It's like I watch you all the time, which sounds really weird. But it's like I don't actually know who you are as a person.
Like I don't want to step on like your spotlight for a minute, but one thing that I realized is that when you stream, right? Like I'm like in terms of streaming, like I'm like way below you, right? But sometimes people like come over and talk to me like we're like intimate friends, and like I want to be friends with you, right? Like I do, I really do. But there's always like that weird like moment where it's like I've literally never met you before, but you feel like we have like this intimate connection, right? Like, do you ever run into that?
From time to time, my friend Know Me Without You, like we stream a lot, we game a lot together, and I was, I hadn't really met her and everything, and then when I did meet her, it's like this weird thing in your brain because this person. Like for this instance, I've had conversations. We poke fun at each other. We've made jokes. We've had to have conversations where we apologize for the things we've said to one another for streaming and games.
Oh, you're real
friends.
friends.
Yeah, we call it couples therapy when we play games together because we really work out our grievances towards one another. And then you meet in real life, and it's so bizarre because you now know this person, but this is the first time you've met in person, and so it's this weird dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, Anne and I have been internet married for going on 5 years now, and we've only met in person twice because I'm in New York and she's in South Dakota. And so, like, even though I know her really well, and like when something's going on, she's one of the first people I'll call. But it's still weird when we're like real people in a room together because, like, I know her through this or through the phone. And so when I see her in person, I'm like, it's still you and I love you, but it's also like a little bit weird. Like it's a little
because you
like also we're planning our 5-year podcast anniversary, but also I like don't see you like in person.
It's
so it's
internet.
It is weird.
Different.
It is weird. Yeah,
not bad, just different.
There's something about the connection, the human existence too, where. And it's going to sound really weird, but it's part of the process where when you get to know someone, you get to know them normally when you get to know somebody, you get to know how tall they are. You get to know what their hair looks like. You get to know what they smell like. You get to know, the shape of their earlobes. And I know that sounds crazy. Maybe it's just because I'm artistic and those are things I pay attention to, but it's like, it's things that you don't realize that you pay attention to when you are with people and in person and you get to know them. Like, so when I Know Me for the first time, I was like, she told me she was tall, but then when I met her in real life, I'm like, you're tall. Like,
that's exactly what it is with Anne. And
yes,
Anne says it too. She is impressively tall. And I know this about her, but when I see her and I have to look up a little bit, I'm like, God, you're tall. Like, I'm not used to that because we're on this plane usually.
It bothers me when I meet women that are taller than me. I don't like it.
Well, good thing I'm shorter than you, right?
Sometimes, although I have to say, it's like Carolyn. She's shorter than everybody.
She's short but feisty.
Scary,
sometimes like I go to like when we went to like the meetup like at MegaCon, right? Like, and I was watching her. I was like, she was small but like powerful. And like at one point, like I went put like an arm around her, and I was kind of like, we don't have to talk to these people, and which was code for like, you don't actually have to hit them. It's okay. Let's just go this way.
She scared me a little bit, and she was funny because I was talking to, I call him Nandrew. His name's Andrew, but I think I just call him Nandrew for some reason.
Oh, you mean caffeinated wolf? Yeah.
And I think because I saw one time where his name was posted without the A, and so I just started calling so I just started calling him Nandrew. I don't know if he realizes it or not because every time I've seen him, it's been loud. So, but anyway, I was talking to him about something, and I try to make sure that I'm not in the way, but I was inadvertently in the way as I was talking to him about business things, and Carolyn runs over because she's dealing with a customer to grab a comic book, and we part ways so that way she could get by. And as she's doing it, I could hear her. She's like, "Don't stand." She's as sweet as she vehemently could be. Don't stand in front of the merchandise.
Blocking the table.
And I felt really bad because I understood. I was trying to be out of the way, but I wasn't out of the way. And
she's very like I appreciate like her drive, but like when it's con mode, I'm kind of like, oh, I love you, and you're like, I know I'm like your number 2 and stuff like that, but could we like not be mean to everyone? Like, let's just...
I looked at Andrew and I'm like, she scares me. And he laughed, and then he went and told her. I was joking, but he went and told her. She paused what she was doing and came over and gave me a hug.
Oh, she loves you though. She really does.
I like her so much. It was funny. I was just like those small people, man. Like
they're feisty.
What do they say? They're like
Fight Club. Yeah, no, it's like Fight Club where they say like skinny people fight to the death. Like, no, you small people, right? Like you'll off me and I'm gonna be okay with it. I seriously am.
So- MegaCon.
Sorry, DK. Sorry.
It's fine. I'm glad you guys had a fabulous time at MegaCon and whatever happened there.
I don't know. It feels
I
like
was in Florida at the same time, and I contemplated going to meet everybody, but we had planned a family trip to Orlando because, like, I really knew that Carol was there, and I was like, I really like to meet her in person. But the meetup, I was like, after walking 10 miles in the park that day, I'm like, there's no chance in hell I'm going to the meetup. I'm so tired.
It was dark. It was loud. I saw
it was
I
hopping
it for a minute,
yeah,
but
like,
I was like,
I spent all of the meetup going after all my friends that drink too much, being like, "Do you have a ride home?" And they'd be like, "No, I'm in the like arranging rides home."
She was like, yeah, she was totally momming everybody, and I'm super grateful for
Like,
that.
oh my god, you're so drunk. How are you getting home? It's like, oh, I don't know. It's like, let's find out together.
I wasn't drunk, but I came
sheep herding everybody
Yes.
into their own little.
I came out of the meetup at the end of the evening because I was working like a table, and this was not my element. As an introvert, loud noises, lots of people, not my scene, and weird people dancing in front of me because they've had a little too much to drink. And I don't know. I'm not really sure what my face looked like when I came out. She came over to me. She's like, gave me a hug. Are you okay? I'm like, no. I was like, I'm not okay. I know it seemed really dramatic, but I was so happy to see the sky. I hadn't seen the sky in like 4 hours. I know, it really does. It sounds like I'm a drama queen, but I'm telling you.
No, you just like when I saw you, I was like, oh man, she looked tired. Like, I'm just gonna check on her, make sure she doesn't need like a Red Bull or anything. And so you were like, no, I'm good. I'm like, okay, you're good. That's great. Like, and so like I respected it.
The other thing was too, I was afraid if anybody gave me a hug for too long, I probably would have burst into tears.
Oh no.
It's just like as a form of stress relief, not sadness. It's like just like I need.
No, I know that feeling. It's like everything is okay until somebody asks you, "Are you okay?" And then it's all over. I'm like, absolutely not. We're not getting.
I've had that happen.
I've had that
happen. I've like literally gone over to people and been like, hey, are you okay? And then they burst into tears. And I have like that introverted moment where I'm kind of like, what do I do? It's like, okay, no, you need a hug, right? And so I'm like, come closer, like awkward hug.
And you don't make me feel better with whatever that was. Thank you, but no, I'm good.
Oh yeah, like that meme with the broom. How I deal with people's emotions, and somebody's crying by a toilet, and it's somebody else has a broom, and they're patting them on the
Yes,
they're there.
that, isn't it?
So the other thing is too, I say this all the time, but it's just funny because it's relevant. It's like my heritage is German, and so we don't do emotions very well, which is ironic because I'm artistic, so I'm naturally like all over the place. But my mom is from Germany, and so it's very much like they're there. Just there.
You okay? I can get you something, but I'll be over here.
Can I send it to you?
I'll be an arm's length away, so we're good. It's fine.
I know it's like when people like
If I was you, I wouldn't want me to watch this, so I'm gonna go.
I don't mind hugs. I love hugs, but when people that I don't know, like we've never had a conversation or we have no actual connection when they come over and give me a hug, it's like, oh, we're touching.
I think for me, what happened is because I'm like, I think probably up until like not last MegaCon, but the one before that, I was definitely like, don't come near me, don't touch me kind of person. And that's because the too long didn't read is I used to be a school teacher, right? And so like, you know, and it's really hard because you have students that are kind of like, you know, my parents don't touch me. There's no touch therapy. There's none of that. And you always have to be like, hand hug, woo, I can't touch you, right? And so what happened is 2024 MegaCon, I was watching the Soska sisters hug somebody and he literally just started to cry, right? And there was, you know, there's two ways you can think about that. It's like guy starts crying when he's hugged. Like, what does that mean? Like, is he like a sissy guy? Does nobody touch him? Like stuff like that. And my takeaway thought by like watching his expression was that he just didn't have like any human contact, like whatsoever, right? Yeah. And so I decided like after that, I would be like, you know, I'll just offer hugs. And if people want them, they can have them. If they'd be like, no, I don't really hug. I'd be like, okay, that's cool too, right? And so like I always offer hugs, but somebody's like, no, I don't really hug. I'm like, okay, cool, a hand hug, let's go.
I've learned to be more open to touch, but it's not. I'm better about it now, but it definitely wasn't. I mean, it's not like my parents weren't loving, but it was just that's stigma. I mean, Germans aren't known for being the most affectionate people.
I worked with one German, and that's when I learned, like, because you know how, like, in America, we're always kind of like, hey, how are you doing? They're kind of like, oh, yeah, I'm fine, right? Don't do that to a German, because if you're kind of like, hey, how are you doing? It's like, do you really want to know? It's like, yeah, why not? It's like, well, you know, my wife is divorcing, and the kids hate me, and, you know, I think I'm getting fat, and I've got, like, this gray hair thing right here, and, like, da, da, da. I was like, wow, you got a lot going on.
Was that like a German American or a German?
I think it's more of, like, a European thing.
Oh, okay.
Because that's,
I know in my family, it's more of like why are you asking how I'm doing? Like why what is the ulterior motive behind this question? I mean, like we're very at least the Germans that I've met, very formal people, and it's not like they're not loving. It's just they're not American loving. My mom would tell the story about how she thought my dad's sisters were crazy because they were, when she first came to the United States, she couldn't speak English. She wasn't raised with, I mean, her father came out of World War II. What do you expect? And she met my dad's sisters off the plane, and my dad's sisters are very girly, very frilly, and high squeaky voices and hugging. Oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. Oh my gosh, bring it in, you know? And my mom looked at my dad and she's like, are they sick? And she had to learn, like, you know, like a lot of Americans, they are very, very interested in how your day is doing and all this kind of stuff. You just don't really do that over, at least not in the city where my family is from. And every time I meet somebody, they're like, oh, I love Germany. Those people are so friendly. And I'm like, even my mom's like,
where are you going?
where are you from? Where? It must be the country.
See, now you guys are talking about this and like you don't want people to touch you and stuff. I have been touched out for 12 years now, and it's fine. You get used to it after a while.
It's fine. It's fine.
You get used to it. It's fine. No, I adore.
I don't mind it if we have a bond. If we don't know each other,
yeah, strangers.
Stranger danger.
It's constantly wants hugs and to sit right next to me sometimes I'm like, dude, just give me a second. Like I just woke up. Let me drink this cup of coffee and then we can do all the snuggling. Just give me like 10 minutes. But
I can see that. Yeah.
It's all right. Oh no, did I freeze? Sorry.
A little bit in the middle.
All of you froze, so I assumed it was my problem because
it's not me, it's you.
It's always me. It's fine.
That's me. I'm the problem.
But hey, get used to it after a while. So, you know. So, Tabitha, what do you do? What do our friends who are watching probably don't know who you are, because most of even though we're like touching the comic world and the Comic-Con and we're knitting, and most of our people are knitters. And so I don't know that they know who you are or why we invited you.
Why are you here?
Why are you here?
I was invited.
Or you were saying no huggy. Let's have real questions here. Why are you here?
No, I didn't mean it like that.
I was told there would be snacks.
I'm sorry. It's been a long day. I didn't mean that.
It's ain't my first stream. I got you. No, why am I here? I am here first and foremost because I was invited by nice people, crafty people, because I too am artsy and crafty. I would say I lean more towards the arts than I do towards the crafts. Figure out what the difference is among yourselves. But
it's a long debated topic. Yes.
But I do a lot of artwork. That's primarily what I do. I do digital artwork. I've been doing marker sketching and painting, primarily oil painting, for several years now. So I'm just like now switching over to digital artwork, which is super fun. Not quite as intimate and I don't know, soulful, I would say, as tangible artwork, but I do like it. I love that I can travel with it and make things on the go. So because if I were to take everything with me, I mean, I've got like, you can see like I've got some of my markers up in here and there's some more over there and then coloring pencils. So if I were to bring all of them with me, there would be no room for luggage. So it's just how it is. But yeah, I love it. I mean, I've been doing art for my whole life, but as far as like making it something like I guess you could say career based, I used to be actually a studio art teacher where I teach people how to paint in like an hour or two. And I
Cool.
did that in person with children and adults for about 3 years. And then 2020 hit. And honestly, for me, best year ever. Not much of my life changed because I very rarely left the house anyway. And all of my friends, for whatever reason, we've always lived hours apart. So my life didn't change that much. But at the same time, it did because I was in between, jobs. And so my friend told me about this program online. This was like all of a sudden when the internet became the world, right? The window to everywhere. And online learning was just the big thing. And so I found a platform called OutSchool that I could teach kids on my own time. And
Do you
obviously,
still teach on there?
not anymore. It's changed a lot, that platform, and it basically became oversaturated with former teachers who were like, "Hey, I don't have to go to work. I'll just stay home."
Yeah.
And I say go to work. It is a lot of work. People don't realize how much streaming is exhausting. And I would do it doesn't sound like much, but I would do like 3, 4, maybe 5 classes a day, and I'm exhausted because you have to be happy and you have to be encouraging, and especially when you're dealing with the little ones, and there's always going to be that kid that hates their painting, and you have to try to encourage them because you can't be over their shoulder and show them, okay, well, no, if you would just brush like this. Oh man, I've had a couple of kids, very rarely, but I'd have a couple of kids that got so distraught they would just literally color the whole thing black. And it's like
Oh no.
I would have like 5, 7 kids in my class, and I can't spend all of my time trying to help this one through her current crisis. I've got to get everybody else through the class because a lot of these kids
Right.
would have another class after my class. So I'd have to be like, well, I'll come back to you, Sally. I'll be right. Just hang out, go cry. I'll be back in a minute. They're there, from a distance. And then,
Again, very German.
Like, all right. You were doing that thing Anne was doing. You're fine. It's okay.
they're there. It's okay.
So take a moment.
For the most part, it was wonderful. Usually it's the parents that get in the way and that are the problem. Bless their
Yep,
souls.
always.
But, they complain, my kid didn't enjoy the class. Okay, well, your kid decided not to paint anymore. That's not my fault. I can't help you. And some people just wanted refunds. I actually had this one woman, I think she was from France. And her 2 girls, like they came about half an hour late to the class, which I forgot to lock the class. You're allowed to do that so people can't come in and disrupt it. But she had messaged me saying they were having internet problems. And I'm like, all right, I'm a nice person. I'll let you in. And their kids couldn't care 2 farthings about the class. They're just like wandering around, doing whatever, and then left early. And then I get a message saying, hey, my kids didn't enjoy the class. Can I get a refund? I'm like, no.
Okay. So I homeschool my kids, which is why we've used OutSchool, because it helps us. I can't possibly care about everything they have to do. Like, I'm not artistic. I knit all the time, but I can't draw. So they take those kinds of things because I don't want to do it. And it's awesome. But first off, I would never allow them to be late. And second off, I would never ask for my money back. It would have to be like a dumpster fire for me to be like, I think I need a refund. Do you know what I mean? Like,
especially when you're like, my kid didn't enjoy your class. That's not my fault. I mean, I had a really great just shout out to myself. I had a really good reputation on OutSchool, because you get to rate the teachers.
Yeah.
And so I had really great stars. And then you have those jerks that bring down your star because they're like, my kid didn't enjoy the class. Had nothing to do with the actual value of the class. Did your kid learn something? Did your kid walk away with a good... I've had kids that didn't enjoy the class, but liked their painting. Okay. Right. How are you supposed to rate me as a person and downgrade my stars? Like, this is how I make my living, people, But it was fun while it lasted. I really enjoyed it. And then I guess that it just got oversaturated and kids started being released back into the world. And so I didn't have quite as many as classes and
Right.
kids as I needed to be able to stay afloat. So I moved on.
Yeah. No, I don't know if they were doing it when you were on, but now they have pre-recorded classes, which I prefer because I don't have to go at a certain time. Because
Yeah.
if it's on a Tuesday at 2:00, well, maybe a doctor's appointment comes up or something. So I really like it that you can do it all week long.
Oh yeah. I was told I should have done that. One of my friends, she taught piano on there for a while and she was really successful, did really well too. And it was the same story where all of a sudden it got oversaturated with I say former, but as far as former school teachers,
Right.
excuse me, and others that there was no return. There were no new kids. And then it just seemed like by the time we were getting near the end of it, there were so many scammers. People
Oh,
trying
really?
there were so many scammers of people trying to not pay for classes. And then there were these new things that OutSchool. This has been several years, So
Mhm.
I hope that they figured things out. I don't know if they were prepared for the wave of people that were going to be pouring onto the
Probably not.
platform. So obviously you're always going to have some kind of a problem that you have to fix. We're humans, but yeah, there was all kinds of weird stuff that was happening with OutSchool I think I did it for almost 3 years when all of a sudden I was like, this isn't working. I'm spending more money on my supplies than I am. Because I was so desperate. I was like, I'll just take one kid. Well, depending on the class, I think my lowest priced class was like $10. And $10 is $10. It's like, yeah, but I'm spending 2 hours for $10 with a bunch of paint and brushes when I could be doing other things. And it just didn't work out. I'm grateful for the time that I had while I was there. It was a godsend for sure.
Right.
But
You sound like a knitter trying to price their work, or a crocheter. Well,
I'm an artist trying to price my work. It's like, I don't know. I love it. Have it for free. It's so pretty.
But that's the thing. If you try to price it for what it's actually worth, you're never going to make the money, unfortunately. Maybe with your actual art you can, but when you're a knitter, if I charged you $150 for that hat I just made, probably nobody's going to buy it. Let's be real. So,
We are in the era of, unfortunately for all artistic people now, I'm just going to label it the plastic era, no matter whatever it is. It doesn't, it's like, even with knitting, wool is made out of synthetic fiber, made out of plastic. So it's cheaper, it's easier, it's faster. So nobody really, very few people, I should say, are going to want an actual nice woolen hat,
Right.
because it's too expensive. And it's the same thing with digital art, with paintings. We're in the era of AI. I don't know how everybody's feelings are on that. Mine are pretty strong, but it's basically plastic versions, metaphorically plastic versions of fine art, because you can just have it now. It's for free. You can just go on Twitter and make hey, I need a poster of George Lopez kissing the llama, and it'll pop up. And you don't have to pay for it. It's perfectly fine. And then you can just print that out. There's no consequences for it. And so it's the same thing. I've tried to warn people on my streams, and I'm like, look, this is how it is. AI is around forever now. I wouldn't doubt in the future they're going to put some kind of stipulation on it because it's just getting out of control. But the truth of the matter is, I can see perks, but at the end of the day, I strongly believe that technology, while it pushes us forward and it benefits us in many ways, it always steals and robs something from society, from culture. It always hurts us in a certain way. It doesn't have to be AI. It could be anything. I mean, I could say computers in general, as wonderful as they are, they keep us from actually interacting with people in the real world. It's just how it is. And so
it takes away our critical thinking as well.
Yeah,
because one of the things that happens is before, when we used to have a question about something, we'd be like, well, let me look it up or let me figure it out, right? If you want to really take it to the elementary level, think about multiplication tables, right? We used to know what our multiplication tables are, but now I could probably go to some random person on the street and be like, hey, what's 7 times 3? And they'll be like, look at me for a minute. I'd be like, no, seriously, what is it? Right? And then they'll pull out their phone and use the calculator on their phone.
I don't like how her eyes are looking at me while she's talking about math. I don't like
yeah.
I feel it.
But the thing is you know, like when we rob ourselves of those critical thinking skills, like we rob our brain of the ability to actually like comprehend what it is that we're trying to do. And on one school of thought, you know, one group of people will come out and they'll say kind of like, well, you know, this is going to expedite things and stuff like that. It's like, but if we rob like our ability to do this, like, is it worth it? Right.
Exactly.
And yeah, and I really struggle with that because I don't think it does, right? Like I think if it robs my cognitive ability, I don't think it's worth, you know, the benefit of another person who's trying to make money off of me, right?
Yeah.
But we're in such like a, you know, right now world that
Microwave era.
yeah, like they want it right now, and because it takes me like, I don't know, like an hour to write copy for a product and stuff like that, they're kind of like, oh no, what, the AI did it in like 30 seconds. And I'm like, okay, well, AI still did it wrong. It's like, no, it did fine.
Well, I think that part of it is too with the plastic era and everything else. It's like, you know, we value what we value, and no matter what we say we value, the sort of actions of what we get AI to do for us really shows what we really do. That we want it to be fast. We don't care if it's accurate, even close to accurate. AI, you know, lies and misspells all the time. And it's like the other day at work, there was an argument over something, and they're like, no, I Googled it, and it was the AI answer. It's like, you didn't even scroll up. You didn't even scroll up 2 things, okay? You know, and it's like, oh, well, it doesn't matter if it's accurate, it's fast. And, you know, the lie works just as well.
It's true. I mean, we like, you know, both points to here is like, you know, is it true? Are we thinking about it? You know, I will say, yeah, I tell people like I have a strong stance against AI. However, all of a sudden, I don't know why it just dawned on me today that when I now type in a question on Google, the first answer is an AI generated answer. I don't know. I just didn't pay attention to it. And it's like we're all using it and we're not even checking to see if it's correct. You know, that was the thing when you used to search for information and you went to the library, you talked to people, you went to the library. And I know it's like, again, it's like, you want something fast. I just want the one answer. But what was really important when you used to do research for a simple question was, what was the context of the solution? You know, I remember one time I went to the library, I was curious about gypsies. And, you know, there's all kinds of stereotypes, there's all kinds of lore and stuff like that. And you could present that to somebody, like, well, gypsies are like these traveling people, they're from here. But when I started to read this book that I had checked out, it's so much deeper than just this group of people, this traveling band of merchants and, you know, fair weathered folk. You know, it's much more. It's more complex than that. But you know, we were just, again, this plastic era, even of information. We just want surface level answers. We don't really want to know. That could be the same thing with politics. It's like, well, we know, you know, Trump is for this, okay, but we don't know why we should be for it. A lot of people are just like, well, my candidate,
headlines versus content, right?
Headlines versus content, and then we don't even question the content to see if it's accurate. You know, how many people know the Bill of Rights? How many know the preamble to the Constitution? Thank you, Schoolhouse Rock. But you know, it's just,
well, even knowing the Bill of Rights isn't enough, because even if they recite it, they don't understand it. Like, look at the way that people talk about freedom of speech. They're like, well, I'm allowed to say what I want. It's like, that's not actually what the freedom of speech was about. And they're kind of like, well, no, I can say whatever I want. It's like, that's not what it means. Like, you really need to read it.
It's not what it was for.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And your thing about, you know, finding a book about gypsies, it reminds me, I had found a book sale, you know, when you get like half of an encyclopedia set, and it was a children's encyclopedia of the world from like 1910, and it was so cool because this is a happy introduction to all of the things and places to a child who does not have TV, and this is their picture book. This is the only pictures they're getting, man. And I love, and you know, it would go, and one of them, because I was thinking of it, was on Romania, and it was like, it's like, yes, it was it was such a happy attitude. It's like you know, like the Romanians, it was Romania. The Romanians are a good sort of people. And then it would go on and talk about
Good
it.
sort of people, as opposed to the bad sort of people.
Bad sort of people. And no, but there was something in there again for children that, you know, they do have a tendency towards drink, but and then it would just go on and like, and this is the traditional
too.
dress, and this is where it is on the map, and all of this other stuff. And this is the one on Japan, and it was like Japanese children must be the happiest in all the world because they are so good and obedient. And I'm just like, this is great. And it was the first introduction. And this is what a tank was in there. And it was talking about who led Germany at the time, 1911, folks. And I'm like, this is fascinating. But it was very much like, all right, kid, you want to learn about the world? Here we go.
Yeah. I mean, you know, simple things like that, like it just, but that's also historical, you know, as far as like, this is how people used to write. This is how people used to interpret information. I visited an art gallery the other day, and I was talking with somebody, and there was a beautiful painting. I have no idea who did it. This guy was like, so you see this painting? Look who painted it. And I'm like, I'm a terrible artist because I really don't care about the artists. Everybody, I'm like, what's the worst question somebody's ever asked you? And like, the worst question that I, as an artist, can be asked is, who inspires you? I'm like, I just like pictures and I try to emulate what I see. I really don't care who made it. But anyway, somebody made this beautiful oil painting of the story of Moses, of the Egyptian princess who received Moses out of the water. So it's so funny because, especially if you know the biblical story, but it was basically this, they were all white, first and foremost. All the characters were Caucasian, and they definitely looked like they were English. And the style was not that of biblical era. There was no, you know, robes or whatever like that. She was in this beautiful dress. I think she had like a circlet on. She was blonde, if I'm not mistaken. And they're passing this baby on to this person, and it's so funny. You can see like this amazing bridge in the background. Like it was so great. There was one dark-skinned person in the corner. I believe it was a young boy or whatever that had the basket that Moses was in, and it was such a beautiful painting. But I was talking with my friend, and he was just like, okay, well, this wouldn't pass today. And I was like, the thing is, you have to understand is that back then these people were isolated. They had no idea what the rest of the world looked like. So for them, the idea of what royalty, nobility, all this kind of stuff, they were just like, well, they must have looked like us. That's as far as their brains could go. And I was like, as far as the dark person dark colored person in the corner, I was like, again, this is a time frame where it wasn't racist. It was culture. It was just how people thought before they became enlightened, that, you know, dark-skinned people were servants. And so obviously the person who fished the Moses out of the water was a servant. So naturally, to the artist's eye, it only made sense historically that it needed to be a dark-skinned person that was giving Moses to a light-skinned noble. And like, this was not racist. This is not a miscast person per se. I mean, historically it is, but I was like, people don't understand that it's like not everything was like racist. It was more about culture. Like, and if we don't read these old books and see that, it's like we have this misunderstanding. And I think that's what's happening today. Is we all know history is being erased and it's being misinterpreted about how everybody was just hateful towards one another if we didn't look alike or didn't think alike in the past. It's like, no, it's just how it was. People just had no idea. There were just some misguided people that had no idea that black-skinned people could do more than give you cheese. You know what I'm saying?
With that, I love nativity scenes from around the world. It is my favorite thing that absolutely everybody is like, yep, there's Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus, and they draw it in their own cultures. Like the Japanese and Korean like nativity scenes are amazing because here's Mary, she's in a blue kimono and with her long black hair, and it's a fat baby Jesus with the bowl cut. And I'm just like, I love that.
Doesn't look
baby.
like she gave like birth around like farm animals in a stable or anything. Like she's just perfect.
Oh, flawless every time.
Flawless. Yeah.
But there was one I saw, I think it was a Korean one where like, okay, I don't forgive my ignorance on the history of Korean stables, but it's like, okay,
Whoa, Anne. I hoped more from you.
I know,
Okay.
but
All right.
it's like, all right, so
He
this
usually
is
does know these things now.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It's like, okay, so it was baby Jesus in a manger, and I don't know which way, but it was a round hay bale, and baby Jesus was plopped upright right in the middle of it, and there was like little kids and farm animals all around him. I'm like, what's going on? What's with the baby Jesus?
Sounds like a good time. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. I have no problem with that as a because that's what I was telling my friend. I'm like, by nowadays standards, like this painting could be interpreted as either racist or nowadays like race swapping is very in. So this is very current. No matter this painting is very in right now.
It's
No
only
matter-
in if you're not white, unfortunately.
I will say that. Some people, they're like, oh, you have a hang up over nothing. But I will say that since we're in this era of like cultural appropriation and stuff like that, I do believe that there's a difference between like for example, like I get a little bit, just a wee bit heated over the whole Santa Claus debacle. Not whether he's real or not, sort of.
I was about to say, like, what part of the Santa Claus?
He's
thing are you
real.
talking about?
No. But as far as
Some people don't like the Santa thing, I gotta say, what's with that?
the historical
Right.
application of it and how it's like, oh, he's just a magical mythical creature. It doesn't matter what color his skin is. Yes and no. Because if you're going to go the route of cultural appropriation, then it is absolutely an atrocity to change the skin color of Santa Claus because he is a historical character in the world. Like he is. There was actually a Saint Nicholas. There is obviously the American version of Santa Claus is so far removed from the actual Santa Claus that existed. And there's a whole history about it. It's fascinating when you read it. He was a very charitable man. He made toys for poor kids whose parents didn't have any money. There's even like part of the legend was that he paid for the dowry for some of these women that were prostitutes that were going to get married but didn't have a dowry, so he paid the dowry for them. Very generous man, which is why he was given the title of sainthood, and he was actually from Turkey. And so Turkey or around I think near Constantinople, what was Constantinople. But anyway, it's like, so there is a historical element there. So this whole thing of like, it's okay to change what he looks like. It's like, if you're going to step on the toes of like, well, it doesn't matter, they're fictional characters or cultural appreciation, the whole debacle with that. It's like, okay, then, it's also like, as a German, a lot of ties to the culture of, Santa Claus during Christmas time, all of the Germanic countries, all of these like Scandinavian and Germanic countries, like it's a big part of their culture. Santa Claus, Nikolaus. And so that part it grieves me every year, especially, I'm not really sure why, but have you guys ever seen like the disabled Black Santa?
Yeah, the
No,
black
I saw-
man in a wheelchair.
I don't
No,
understand.
I saw the Santa Claus written by Kibble Smith where he had a husband, and I was particularly offended by that.
Yeah, because what about Mrs. Claus? Where's she at? Like they just
No, there was no Mrs. Claus. It was Mr. Claus and his husband. Kibble Smith wrote this kid's book about it, and I was like, man.
Yeah, there was also a weird, was it a Norwegian commercial that was a weird gay Santa and his boyfriend, and it was
Yeah, they did that too. I didn't ask.
They are weird up there. Yeah, Norwegians, the Swedish. We don't really have a high opinion of them. They're good at making furniture.
You guys are weird, but you make some good chairs. Yeah, I guess you can stay.
Exactly. It's funny. I always tell people, I'm like, this gets me in hot water, but it's like I don't mind a healthy prejudice. And when I say that, I don't mean it's like we hate other countries. It's more of like you're proud of your country. Ergo, in a sense, you think less of other countries. but not from a moral stance, but it's more of like, I'm just so proud of my country that nobody can be as good as we are. And I'm not like that for Germany. Germany can suck eggs. They need new leadership over there. Proud American, always will be. But at the same time, I have family there and everything, and I want what's, better for them. And I'll never forget, like, my, my mom is not, my mom is a lovely, wonderful, sweet person. Like, everybody just loves my mom. But she still have a little bit of that prejudice against the Polish. Like, it just won't die. I'll never forget it. It was the funniest moment. We were big into the Olympics. We love it. We honestly do. We love seeing all the countries come together to fight for one purpose, to represent their country. We think, as our family, always thought that was beautiful. As a multicultural family, we always thought that was really beautiful. But we were always cheering for our country, right? And my mom became a citizen years ago. She loves this country. Man, you'll find nobody more patriotic than an immigrant who became an American. Like, I'm telling you, my mom wore sparkle red, white, and blue vest. Like, she's already tall, so she stood out.
Looking like Kid Rock at the White House yesterday.
Yeah. She pulled out all the stops. And but we were watching the Winter Olympics. And my mom has never reacted this way. It took me by surprise. We're watching the skiing, like the slalom. And this Polish gal got up there and did really well. My mom legitimately got upset and said, I can't watch this anymore, and left the living room.
Wow.
Like, we've seen Polish people in the Olympics all the time, but apparently skiing is where we draw the line.
Exactly. If they think they can
have their
ski,
standards.
Apparently. And I remember bringing that up to her a year or 2 years ago. I'm like, you remember when you did that? She's like, I did that? I'm like, yeah, you did do that.
I grew up in England for a while because I was on a.
We're not allowed to hear what she has to say.
My dad married a proper British lady, which is very funny because he was a Southern gentleman. So proper British lady, you get my weird phonics and stuff like that. But what I thought was funny is, like, originally when I moved there, like, England has like this animosity towards the French, and I was like, I'm not going to be a bigot like you. That's bad, right? Yeah. And then we had like this big like hoof and mouth disease that like broke out, and like when I'm just going to do a quick recount. So basically, hoof and mouth disease is when the cattle get like this big disease, and in order to try and stop it, you have to do your best to not transmit it, because it's like a thing that's transmitted when you move into the territory. So it's like a thing that you bring with you, right? So all of England had it, right? Because it's an island. And so like the big goal was like, okay, let's keep it contained within England and let's not affect the rest of the EU. And I'll never forget like the day I was watching the news with my dad one morning before I went to school. And there was like this British news reporter, journalist. Sorry, that's the correct word. And she was doing an account. She's like, Bob, I got to tell you, like they found a clue, an inkling of hoof and mouth disease out here in France, and we're doing our best to contain it and help the French people. And while she's talking, there's like this guy like on his bicycle, right? And there's a sign. And on the sign, in English and in French, it says like, hey, hoof and mouth disease, like, predicted, don't come through this territory. You see him stop on the bicycle, read the sign, lift it up, and then keep going, right? and that was the moment I was like, these French people are freaking retarded.
Yeah. The Polish and the French, my family has no time for.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, like, I say all that with my mom and stuff like that. Like, at the end of the day, she believes that Jesus died for all of them. They all need to know Jesus. We all need to come together. We're all humans. But it's just like, that's why I say healthy prejudice. Like, at the end of the day, my mom really doesn't care if you're French. But
it's more like friendly ribbing, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I remember when we had like an air show, and we had like an air show from like all of Europe, Russia, Germany, like everybody, right? My favorite moment at the air show was when like it started to rain. And I was like, oh no, I might get wet in England. Like, it doesn't rain there all the time, right? But like I was outside of, right by a plane. It was a Russian plane. Of course, like this guy comes out, like, we have vodka. You come join us. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, I'm right there.
Yeah. Stereotypes. Exactly. I mean, it's like the same thing in the States. It's like one southern state hates the other southern state. At the end of the day, we're all Americans and we bleed red, white, and blue. But man, some of those people in North Carolina, like, Like Mississippians don't even consider North Carolina part of the South. So
It's like the gumbo
Really?
argument, right? People get into the
between
gumbo
that and
argument.
barbecue.
Yeah, gumbo versus barbecue. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, like I
Oh,
talked
yeah.
to one person from Louisiana about gumbo, and like, man, like I just did it like as an icebreaker. Like I didn't know I walked onto a landmine until like he got like heated about it. I was like, oh man, I just wanted to talk about shipping, but okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a thing. Everybody's got something. Like every state, every country's got something that they pick on other people about, and it's the same thing with like people from Wisconsin or our neighbors to the north in Canada. When they say about and all that stuff.
Yep.
It's a thing.
I found out from some of the people that watch us that I have a New York accent, and I'm like, I don't have a New York accent. Maybe it's just like a Northeast thing, but there was a whole episode of this show where people were like, "No, you sound like a New Yorker," and I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me."
Yeah, I can hear it every now and then. You do sound a little bit northern Midwest. You definitely don't sound southern.
No, I'm not that, but there was a girl. Where's Tara from? Alabama
I think so.
or Arkansas?
Or
She's from NA State, Arkansas maybe, and she would not let it go. She's like, "You sound like." I'm like, I didn't think I had an accent.
Well, you don't sound Bronxy or anything.
No,
I remember when I first moved to England, and I had a little bit of Missouri drawl in the way that I talk, and my syllables had all day to come out between my lips. That's how I used to talk. You can't do that in England because if you start acting like you have like some kind of southern drawl, they think that you're a retard. And like my father, bless my father, like oh my goodness, because like I immediately was like, no, I'm going to like adapt. I'm going to blend in. My father was like, nah, honey, we got all day to talk. They can just wait for us, right? And so when people would treat him like an idiot, he'd be like, oh yeah, I don't know what 2 + 2 is, but I can fly this helicopter. Watch me go.
Never let them know your next move. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
it's great.
So funny. I don't
For
know.
anybody that's interested, that's actually my dad's helicopter right here in this picture.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool.
I always bring it with me wherever I go. They're kind of like, what is that? It's like, it's my dad's bird. It's like, it's not a bird. I was like, you're an idiot.
It's not a bird.
Okay. So, sorry to get off on I'm going to break up the thing, but we have a question still in the comments.
Oh.
Tiki Mare says that she's been listening the whole time and she's still not sure who you are. Can we do a mini interview? I may subscribe to her then. So,
I do art. I'm an artist. I'm an artist here on YouTube, and I do all kinds of stuff. I do have some pre-recorded videos. I do art challenges with other artists, and then I do live streams where actually one of my subscribers sent me this thick book that looks really old. Like the pages are like tea stained. They're rough on the edges, and I'm a big fantasy fan, and so my subscribers and I will when I go live, we'll create fantasy worlds together. We'll create fantasy characters. I'll like merge 2 different kind of creatures together, see how it works. And then I will ask the chat and like, all right, what do you think this person's name is? What is their backstory? What do we think? And then we have our favorite characters. Carl's one of them. Keffin's another one. Carl and Guts, big fans. And we'll be like, okay, so we've created this character. How does it correlate with this, maybe a story that goes with this other character and things like that. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. And yesterday I was working on a super secret project. Sometimes I will go live and let people watch, but then I'll take down the stream and make it for members only because it's like a snippet of behind the scenes of what's to come in an art challenge and things like that. So yesterday I was working on Captain Falcon from F-Zero X or Super Smash Brothers. And I used to do primarily, I still kind of do primarily chibis, kind of fell into that. And I have a Mario Kart challenge with different artists where we are taking any other video game character we want. What would they be like in the Mario Kart world? Like if they were part of the game. And so I'm doing Captain Falcon. And it's super fun. I did some Bob Ross tutorial like in real time with some other artists. That's really crazy. If you love Bob Ross, you have obviously never done one of his tutorials.
No, are they not great?
All right. You
He
try
makes it
painting
really
a
easy.
full oil painting, man, in 27 minutes and making it look fantastic. You're asking a miracle. I don't know how Bob did it.
Well, because he had the painting that he would do like during the show, and then he'd have the finished one that he would have like ready, afterwards. Because they did a documentary about it, and they found out that all the paintings that he did, both the ones that were at the end of the show and the ones that he did during the show, were all bought by like this one lady like in Louisiana, and she just decided to auction them off. She made some bank, by the way. Like,
I
really?
thought
I
he was
heard
a
that
good
he
would
was
paint it and then he would do it again. Like he would paint it once and then he would do it for the show.
yeah, that's what
watched
I'm
the
talking about.
documentary. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that he's like, no, he does it on the fly, but that would make a lot more sense
Yeah.
because, I mean, as you know, obviously, you paint so many mountains, you know exactly what to do. I mean, I technically know what to do, but again, like I was doing it one time. I'm like, housewives were supposed to do this in their spare time. It's crazy, but it makes sense that to do it once so that because there was only one time, and I don't remember which episode it was. There was one time I was casually watching my man Bob. He messed up and he recovered from it. Like you had to be paying attention. And I think you have a little bit of artistic ability to notice this millisecond of doubt where Bob had to figure out, what am I going to do with this? And then he just kept on going. And I wish I could remember the episode. But there's like 400 episodes.
I know. There's a
I
whole
don't know.
channel on Pluto. And my kid and I knit and watch it.
Yeah.
Because it's very, like, that's something we'll do at like 8:00 at night. We'll get our knitting.
It's relaxing.
And we'll watch Bob Ross. And it's so chill. It's the best.
That's what they said, that a majority of his watchers never painted. They just like watching what he did and listening to the sound of his voice.
Yep.
ASMR before it was ASMR.
Exactly.
I'm going to go find the Bob Ross challenge, though, because that sounds awesome and I want to see it.
I don't have it. I don't know if you're referring to my video. I don't have it posted yet. It's coming up in the next month or two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of like pre-recorded ones, but it's coming up. And it was first one we did was digital art, and then the second one we did was oil painting, like actual tangible.
Yeah. Okay, well that's cool. Also, Cheeky Mare wants to know about the creative lefty thing. What does that mean?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. I leave it to interpretation. No, I don't. I'm a proud left-handed person.
Okay.
I didn't even realize that was translated differently until somebody else brought it up. They're like, so are you left-leaning or what? I'm like, oh, no, I'm left-handed.
Okay, that's cool. Just, we like to know what's up. And Kat is right. Bob never made mistakes. He had happy accidents.
Oh,
right?
no, you could tell. You could tell.
No,
That moment,
he would make accidents and then beat the devil out of his brush.
It was a questionable moment for Bob, and I just couldn't believe it. And I was like, oh, he made a mistake.
I want to see now when I'm relaxing watching it, I'll have to actually pay a little bit more attention to see if I can see it.
It happened so fast. Like it wasn't like he did it and paused. It was like he paused. I think because I'm a painter and I know I've been there, where it's like you do it and you do it. It's just for a second. It's like, wait, because I've taught hundreds of people in person, and if you mess up, you can't let them know you mess up. It just doesn't work that way. And they don't even really care. I have come to learn that people that go to art studios to learn how to paint, it really doesn't matter how badly the teacher does. I mean, it has to be super bad, but they really don't care how badly the teacher does because they automatically assume the teacher will do anything better than you can. So, but I've been there where you make a mistake and you're just like, how do I recover? Anyway, so what we have over here is a lovely shade of blue.
So really what you're saying is that Bob was an absolute professional. He knew he was able to do it.
Yeah, there was no going back. He was just like, we go forward. And that's a good, honestly, there's so many life lessons that can be learned from arts and crafts. It's just kind of the thing. You make a mistake. I might be a little philosophical myself, where it's like you make a mistake and you have to keep going. You don't always get the chance to redo it. In that particular moment. The great thing about oil paint is you can go back and fix it. But there are moments in our life where it's like you could pause. Here we go. You could pause to fix your problem, but then you're only bringing more attention to the fact that you made a mistake instead of just letting it be, recognizing your problem, and then just not doing it later. So.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I'm an artist. I paint. I'm left-handed. I draw. I paint. I love to make patterns in the carpet when I vacuum. That's who I am. That's what I love.
So I do that, but it's mostly because I clean houses. So I feel like since people are paying me to vacuum their rugs, like I need to make the lines nice so that when they come into their room, they're like, oh, look, it's so nice. I wouldn't have vacuumed it like that. I don't do that at home.
There's something to be said about, for sure, that when you see the patterns in the rugs, and it doesn't even have to be like an actual pattern as far as like you intentionally made it. I used to make like palm trees in the carpet when I was
Yeah.
But like just seeing the strips of the done over, fibers, something in our brain tells us this is much cleaner than it was. It's just like the subconscious knowing of a vacuum has been here. So I
Someone has
love
touched this.
Yeah, exactly. I love the patterns in the carpet. It makes me so happy. Unfortunately, it's gotten to the point where if I don't leave a particular pattern in the rug, like I don't know if it's OCD. I don't want to be one of those people, but it's like I feel like it's incomplete if I don't, like I've done it wrong if I don't leave a particular pattern in the rug.
I think that you need to switch your patterns up. I think that that's a signal to like,
Yeah.
change
Well,
it
I'm
up.
older now. I don't have the time to leave the cool. It's like I know how to do this one, so I'll just do this one really quickly. Maybe
Just
I'm
make
just a
lines.
person of routine.
That's funny. No, sometimes mine look like palm trees, and I'm like, oh, I gotta fix that because, like I said, there's one house in particular I'm thinking of that has this really plush carpet in the bedroom. Like I can almost not pull the vacuum across it.
Oh yeah.
And so like if I don't get my lines straight, I'm like, oh, they're gonna notice that. And I probably won't ever notice it, but I feel like they're gonna, so gotta do it.
That other reel where they're like, they're gonna know. He's gonna know. He's just gonna know.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah. By the way, I just happened to see that somebody said they subscribed to the channel. I do have 2 channels, but I've abandoned the one. So the one you're looking for is Dreaming Tabitha Live. That's the channel that I am most active on. So just throwing that out there for people.
Thank you.
Somebody told me, and I don't hate them for it or anything like that. It was recommended to me. A lot of people were starting to do this exodus of having all of your content on one channel. And so I followed suit because I'm like, okay, I want to be successful. I want to be like the people. And then all of a sudden, that same exodus rounded back on itself, started putting all their content on one channel. I'm like, what a waste of time.
Yeah, that's annoying. See, now Anne and I, we've been getting into some trouble with the powers that be. So we're on Rumble, but it's not a second channel. It's just a different platform because
right.
Because, hey, friends, if you ever can't find us here, go look for us on Rumble. That's why.
When they come for you.
People, by some people, I mean us, are saying things that YouTube still doesn't like. I thought you would think that they had gotten over that. You think that things are much happier now? No, not really. No.
Yeah, Anne brings up the hockey stick graph once every couple of months, and it's
they hate that.
Karen just rolled her eyes.
Did you say the hockey stick graph?
Yeah.
Like, is that like a euphemism for something, or
no?
Or is it like an actual graph about hockey sticks?
No, it's the global warming graph, the Michael Mann graph.
Oh, I'm a little out of the loop. I didn't know that was.
Well, it's an older one. Like in the heyday of Al Gore and climate crisis, that was a graph that was brought up a lot, and totally debunked. Just hi YouTube.
It's real. I swear, it's real.
Hi, Michael Mann worked for Penn State, and he had the hockey stick graph, and everyone said this means that global warming is crisis. And yeah, there was totally emails saying like, yeah, I fudged all the data. And then he claimed that he was a Nobel Prize winner, and he wasn't, and he drug Mark Stein, who wrote a joke post about it, through the courts for the last 12 and some years. So that case actually has just come to fruition, which is great. Well, not great that it took so long, but Anyways, so yeah, but some people still think the graph is cool, apparently. So
Anne has a crush on Mark Stein, though, so we know about it because she talks about him a lot. Okay, maybe it's not a crush, but she enjoys his content.
I talk about a lot of niche subjects a lot. Let's be real here.
But yeah, we pull out something obscure like that hockey stick graph, and then all of a sudden YouTube's like, and now you're yellow. We haven't had a video, knock on wood. We haven't had one taken down in a while, though. That's a bonus.
I had to look up Mark Stein because I was getting him confused with the Clear Eyes guy, and I'm like, all right, it's fine. Ben Stein.
Oh.
For dry eyes, use Clear Eye. I was like, well, I can't get on Anne for her choice in men. I mean, I've always, had a taste for older English guys. So Ben Stein, sure, why not?
Okay, cool.
What is it? We judge, we listen, and we don't judge.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we all have our things.
So
I don't think we're talking about the same person. Let me
I
clarify.
must have my pattern. Do you think it matters? It's my own design. It doesn't matter, right?
Oh, it's super cute.
You can gumbo it, as Amy would say.
It'll be fine. No one will notice.
But also, it kind of reminds me of those blue willow plates, and I'm a sucker for those, man. Every time.
I don't know what those are, but I can send this to you when it's done if you'd like. No, but listen. Okay.
Love it.
Can I go on a new tangent now? So last night I posted on my Patreon that I brought the wrong knitting bag with me to Starbucks because my kids do a thing on Monday nights and I sit in Starbucks for an hour and a half and I drink coffee and I listen to podcasts and I'm all by myself and I knit and it's really fun. And sometimes if Anne is around, I talk to her, but I didn't call her last night. So I thought I was bringing a different project. And so I opened my bag and I was surprised because there were all these yarns in there that I wasn't expecting. So I was like, I'm just going to wing it. I'm going to start. So I started this project and it's just 2 colors, but this is what I'm going to do with my chicken lady yarn. I'm going to start with one color and I'm going to fade it up into the next. And then it's going to fade into the 3rd color and it will magically be fabulous.
I think that's
so.
a good idea.
Thank you. So that's all. Just my random story about that.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
Anybody wants to know? It's my chicken lady yarns I'm talking about.
Oh,
I have a question.
what is your question?
Don't look to look nice on the screen. But there's green and purple.
Tabitha has a question. What is it?
What is Chicken Lady yarn?
Oh, Chicken Lady is our sponsor.
Oh, okay.
We sell yarn for her, but she also gives us great yarn. No, it's Chicken Lady Fiber Arts, and you can use the code.
Made from real chickens? Or?
She does have real chickens, but it's just because she's a chicken lady. But this is the Easter colors.
Those are pretty. I like that.
And so I didn't know what to do with them because I was like, what am I going to do with them? And then it hit me last night at Starbucks, which was fun. So that's my story.
Yeah. I love when a great idea hits me when I'm drinking coffee.
Yeah.
Best.
It was great. And every time I go take my kids to this thing, my dad calls me and he says, hey, come hang out with us. You've got a whole hour of free time. And I say, I love you so much. I'm going to go be by myself, but thank you.
It's that thing where it's like, I have free time. The reason I have free time is because I am choosing not to do something.
Well, yeah, because I live far enough away that I can't like drop the kids off and come home. So it's like, yeah, I could go to their house. It's closer, or I could just drink coffee. And that's really fun too. And then there were these, a couple of deaf ladies came in and then they were trying to sign to me about what I was doing. And one of them was telling me she liked to sew. And I'm like, oh no, I don't like to sew. And then some other deaf guy came in.
How did you tell them that? I'm curious.
Well, she was making signs that I knew she was talking about sewing. I said, oh, no, I want to knit. No. We were laughing. And I don't know. It was a really good time. And
I wonder what you actually said, like in sign language. I wonder what this means in sign language.
I don't know. But she knew that I was talking about knitting.
Maybe you cussed her out. You don't know. I mean.
No, sign language is pretty unique. I really love it because I learned it when I worked with special ed kids because we had like hard of hearing kids, right?
Yeah.
And so like it's always fun because we like as English speakers or hearing people, as they like to say, like we like to hear everything, right? So we'll do things like we'll try and like Englify like their language. So we'll say like I'm going to the store, right? But they'll be like I go to the store, right? Like that's all they do.
That's what I've heard. that the
Yeah.
articles go missing. Like they don't focus on the articles; they just focus pretty much on the noun.
Yeah, because they're kind of like they don't need the filler words, right? Because it's like I go to the store, like that's all you really need to know, right? And if you,
Right.
it's kind of like, do you want something from the store, right? Like that's it as well. So they take out like all of like the crutch words and stuff like that. And I went to Deaf Night Out one time because when I was taking sign language in college, because that was my language of choice, especially since I was working with kids with needs. I was like, this makes sense. Like I might work with like, people that can't hear, right? Let me tell you, deaf people are very loud. They are super loud. Like the amount of, and like I don't even mean it like in the sense of like they like bang things on tables and stuff like that, because they do that and it scares the fuck out of you. But the other thing that they do is they like to say the word fuck a lot, right? Like they'll just say it like over and over, like just randomly. Like they'll be telling you like a story about going to like the hysterectomy, right, thing, and they'll be like screaming fuck like all the time, and you'll be kind of like, what does that have to do? It's like fuck.
They'll be telling
Why?
you.
Why?
Is that what you just said?
Stories about hysterectomies?
Yeah, no, like literally, like when I went
Is that
to
a deaf
Night Out-
stigma? Like
No, when I went to Deaf Night Out, this lady was telling me about how she was going to go and do like a hysterectomy, and then she just started screaming "fuck" like over and over again. I was kind of like, and I was looking at her,
Was it a
and then I was
tick or
looking at
was
the
it-
other deaf people around me because I like didn't know if this was like a deaf culture thing that I wasn't picking up, but they were also kind of like.
That might have just been, specific to her, apparently.
I think she was a little quirky. Yeah. And then my favorite thing about working with people who are actually deaf, right, is they don't give like two tosses about table manners, right? Because they could talk with one hand and eat with the other, right? And so they'll be sitting there like shoving food in their face while like talking to you. I was like just.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think what was my favorite story? My favorite story when I was trying to make like friends with somebody out there, right? Is I asked her what her sign name was. Because in deaf culture, it's almost like Native American in the way that they give each other names and stuff like that. Because there's a name that's on the birth certificate, and then there's the name they call each other, right? So her name was Big Hip. And this was her name. So basically from shoulder to hip. And I was like, why is that your name? And she's like, because when I walk, I sway. And I was like, oh, man.
That's so great.
So Cheeky Mare is full of stuff today, and she's
Full of it.
Full of
and knitting and crochet signs are pretty much what I did. So there you go. And she had to wear earplugs when she went to their clubhouse. So I guess that's a normal thing.
Well, I mean, I guess if you don't realize how
If
loud
you
you are
can't
being,
hear
if you have,
yourself.
yeah, if you, yeah.
Makes
I would maybe argue to say that we have an innate sense of needing volume, because we are made to speak, and so when that is taken from us, or it's not, we don't have that ability, it's still a natural desire the body has, and maybe not understand. I guess it's kind of like also, what is it when they say that maybe perhaps like when a limb goes missing, you still feel it, like your brain is still telling you that it's there. So I kind of wonder if that might be. I don't have no idea. I have
Interesting.
I was just wondering. It's a natural desire that the body is meant to, fully use all the things that it was meant for. But maybe that's might be why they might be so loud, because their natural instinct is to have volume.
Well, because what I also noticed when I worked with them is that because we think of it like Japan, right? When you go into a Japanese store, you're always going to speak very quietly, at least in like the Japanese culture kind of thing. Like you're going to get close to somebody, you're going to speak to them. But an American walks in, they're kind of like, "Excuse me," right? Like super rude, right?
Yeah.
In Japanese culture. So like as a hearing person, we don't always want to make like a super loud noise, because we know if we make a loud noise, that's more of like a warning sound, right?
Yeah.
But for people who can't hear, for them, it's not about like making a warning. It's kind of like, yo, I'm right here, right? So it's like it's a cultural clash kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's fascinating.
I learned this in college, guys. I learned it.
Oh,
Cool.
to circle back to the hand-dyed yarn.
Pull a Jen Psaki. We're gonna circle back.
Yeah. Oh, because you've.
Oh, did you finish it already?
I'm not finished. I haven't.
Oh,
got
okay.
it yet.
I was gonna say, Anne, you're good, but I didn't know you were that good. I mean, come on.
No,
Anne's
She had little to no faith in your abilities, Anne. That's why.
No, Anne's amazing. That's why I keep trying to steal it from DK.
No,
Then
but I
DK's
saw
like, no,
this
I'm
thing-
better.
I saw this thing on Saturday. If she was done already, I would just be impressed.
No, I have this. I'm not working on it now, but because I have a lace section I need to do and I need to focus. But also from Lynn's
Pretty.
yarn,
I like it.
Big old Easter shawl,
Those are the colors I was holding up. You can just see them better in her
Yes.
project.
which is the magic of hand-dyed yarn.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty.
I know. See, I saw much earlier in the chat, people were already plotting your knitting career, Tabitha, saying like, "Oh, well, she needs to travel. She should knit socks. You know, they're small, they're portable."
They're very portable.
But
I-
like you're artistic. You've done watercolors, dyeing yarn, lots of fun.
I know my aunt used to dye silk scarves. Like that was her thing. Like she used to make
Oh, that's
silk
cool.
scarves. And then she would give them to my mom, and my mom loved them so much. She loves the abstract, and so she would frame them because they were really, really pretty. And then, of course, one time she left it on the floor, and the dog ate the corner, so we were very sad.
Oh,
I don't know how to properly knit. I do know how to crochet, but as far as knitting goes, and please, no haters. I've only ever used like the Nifty Knitter in order. That's as far as my knitting skills go.
Don't worry, I'm a hooker on a knitting stream. You're totally fine.
we don't judge. Oh,
We
hey,
listen and we don't judge.
but before we stop talking about knitting, Anne and I, it's April Fool's Day. It's April 1st, and our knit along for the babies started today. So for the next 2 months, knit for the babies, friends. Knit for the babies. What's the knit along name? Do I remember? Did I make a banner?
Knit for babies is the name now.
Nope. It's April Showers Knit Along 25.
Oh,
She shut you down.
I guess that name's okay too.
Thanks. I already posted it on Instagram. So
Your
that's
name
guess
is
it's
acceptable.
or email us at politicallyincorrectknitters@gmail.com if you want to enter, and we will give out prizes for knitting for the babies. And if you don't have a baby, you can send them to our friend Amy at Let Them Live, who give them to the moms in need.
Oh, the moms that kept their babies. Oh,
Yeah. So
I used to make the hats with the Nifty Knitter. It was fun to make. I would make like doll clothes and stuff like that. So it was fun.
I have a whole bunch of hats to send to Amy. It's been like over there.
yeah, I have them from the last time we did this. I have an entire bag full of them. So I guess I will do it this time, and I will send them to her. I kind of suck when it comes to that.
I have Amy's address now, so I can totally send these to her.
I don't have her address. Apparently, she likes you better than me.
Well, she sent them to me because like I had for a while I was gonna do this all just eat bacon podcast, but what happens is that when you try to have a podcast with a helicopter pilot, you never have aligning schedules. So we're not gonna be able to do it. So she sent me some knitting stoppers, right? And
stitch stoppers, yeah.
Yeah, stitch stoppers, yeah. The vernacular that I'm still lacking because I don't know what I'm doing.
That's okay.
But so she sent them to me, but I have it. So like now I have the ability to like send her stuff. So I just
Yeah, if I had ordered stitch stoppers from her, I would have her address also, but I haven't yet because I keep forgetting, and I don't use them. I just like to curse when my project falls off my needles, and then I move along. So
I will have to actually knit and use them.
Okay, somebody had a question that I missed. Let me look.
From forever ago?
How many inches before I start decreasing on a hat? It depends on if you're making it for an adult or a kid or how big your head is. But I generally, for myself, do, 7.5 inches. And it depends on how quickly you decrease. So between 7.5 and 9, depending on your pattern. If you're going to do really fast decreases, I would go longer so that you don't have like a one that barely covers your ears. Okay. There you go. I'm the hat expert. It's all I ever knit. And make shawls and socks and sweaters, and I knit hats. Everybody in my life has hats, and that's
Okay,
fine.
so I showed this on our knitting podcast proper, but I'm going to take this opportunity to say, look at these baby socks. Look at them. Look at these small baby
So
socks.
cute.
They're
Nice.
like
I would wear those.
I
My
know.
feet aren't that big.
They're so cute and happy.
So, anyways, sorry.
I've only ever crocheted like as far as like I've made like scarves and hats with the Nifty Knitter. As far as crocheting goes though, I'm strictly a blanket kind of gal. Although I have crocheted ruffles around girl socks before. That was really fun with the beads and stuff like that. But yeah, I never got too far in my crocheting career. Granny squares is about as fancy as I get, but I love them because you can make them look really fancy, and everybody, especially if they're not knitters or crocheters, are like, "Oh my gosh, you did that by hand? That's so fancy!" And I'm like,
I know.
"Thank you."
It's really cool. Yeah. No, I'm making a baby blanket. I'm crocheting it. I'm just not working on this project because I have ADD and I sometimes don't want to work on the project that I've started. Sometimes I just want to do something totally different. So
absolutely,
that's what I do.
And
I have to make a Lapras. Is that a Pokemon character? Lapras? I think so. I have to make it in like a week, and I haven't started it yet for a birthday party, so my bad.
Oh, you got your hands full.
I got time.
When you go to Starbucks and you talk to the deaf ladies, you can knit a Pokemon.
The people talking, I had 4 people talk to me about my hat last night. I was so surprised. That never happens to me. Usually nobody even acknowledges that I'm there. Another lady stopped and asked me what I was making. She thought it was socks. And I'm like, no, that's not. But, she didn't know.
Or it's a Swedish bralette. Yeah. A Nordic bralette.
Okay, so anyway. I gotta make that Pokemon thing, though. I can't forget, because it's kind of like the birthday present.
Oh, so it's like the main event. Yeah, you might want to get.
Yeah, I think we're gonna, because it's one of the kids they go to co-op with. I think that we're gonna buy some Pokemon cards too, because you can't go wrong, right?
And you guys are so lucky these days with homeschooling. Back in my day, we didn't really have like the co-op and stuff like that. Literally, we were at home by ourselves, teaching ourselves how to do stuff.
You had a workbook.
We didn't have like friends to share in each other's homeschooling experiences or whatever, or go on like field trips with one another, all the cool stuff that homeschoolers are doing these days, these modern homeschools. I'm not bitter.
No. If we didn't go to co-op, I probably wouldn't do it, honestly, because I need it just as much as the kids do. And I think that's like, I teach classes and I don't let my kids come to my classes, because anything I can teach them, we can do at home. Right? Like, there's all these other teachers. I want you to take classes. They take a lot of art and gym. Things I'm not teaching them. It's fine. So
I know you guys had all this cool stuff, like the teaching online, like we're talking about, like OutSchool and stuff like that. Like my friend, she was homeschooled, and now her kids are homeschooled, and one of her daughters took coding over the summer for fun. And it's like, where's this stuff?
Yeah.
What how much better of a person could Tabitha possibly be had she had the advances in life the way the kids do these days?
See, when I was homeschooled, there was a co-op, and we didn't go because we were even more antisocial. Like, peace. Sorry.
Okay. So you're all right. Fine. You win. You're worse than me.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I wouldn't do it. Like, if they didn't have their outside of the house activity, because my husband also works from home. So if we didn't have a place to go at some point, we would all just kill each other, because you can only be so many people in a house for so long before you're like, this is dumb. So,
My brother and I had to learn to become best friends after a while, because it was just like, it's just you and me. We were a military family. We traveled a lot too. So it's like, I tell people, it's like, I do wish that we would have had like extracurricular activities and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I am super grateful that now into our 30s, my brother and I are like, he said we're best friends. Like we have a very strong connection. I know a lot of people aren't very close with their siblings. Like after they leave home, they're like, bye, Felicia, I'm out to live my own life. And they maybe speak, around the holidays and send a Christmas card. And I'm super grateful that that's not my experience for myself personally. Hey, if it works for you, good for you. But I'm really glad that I'm close with my brother. I mean, it's just him and me. I have no other fallback. The dogs all died, so there's nobody else that I grew up with.
Yeah, I've got a brother, and now we're both in our 40s, and we're finally like pretty good friends. But it took years and years, and that's okay. We had to grow up as people, but.
Oh yeah, I mean, there were brawls. We weren't the best of friends as teenagers, like that's for sure. But we kind of had. It's like we hated. I don't want to say it was. It was usually me. Josh was pretty chill. But we We tolerated each other's existence because we had no other friends, but at the same time, it was almost like we didn't want to admit that we were friends. You know, teenagers were weird.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. When we were teenagers, he was much too cool to hang out with me.
No, definitely that was not the case for us.
Well, we went to school, and so he had friends that he had to like
Oh.
save face around. I think, probably.
Oh, I'm more on Tabitha's side, also because I only have one brother, and yeah, we do hang out as adults, which helps that we're like in the same area. But yeah, my sister-in-law is often looking at us like, you dweebs.
Yes.
Okay,
Hey,
you need to stop.
dude, I get along well with my brother. Anne and her brother are on another level. I'll be like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm with the family. I'm like, again? Like don't you
why?
know?
No.
You're like,
See, no, I do. I love being with my family. Like I miss them like
No, I do
crazy.
too.
I'm super grateful that my brother. This is how sweet and how close my brother and I are. Before he got married, he was like he reassured me and said, "Don't worry, I'm gonna make sure." When he moved out, he's like, "I'm gonna make sure that I find a woman that you get along with as well." So sweet. My brother's very much a sweetheart.
that's very nice.
It is. I
My
mean,
brother would have hit me before saying something like that. My goodness.
to be fair, I would often threaten my brother when I was younger, very selfishly, and say, "I only get one shot at a sister-in-law. You better make it a good one." so
Well, lucky
when
for
he
me.
moved out, he was like, "I'll make sure I get a good one."
Now, the first one didn't work out well, but my brother's new girlfriend now, I like her quite a lot. So that's a good thing.
It was funny too because like my brother, my sister-in-law, his wife, she was not a nerd. Like she nothing about that life for her, right? And so I don't know why. Well, I say I don't know why she married my brother. Of course, I mean he's a sweetheart. He takes care of her, everything like that. But as far as interests are concerned, he's typical. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Legos, all this kind of stuff, and video games. And that just wasn't her thing. And then he got her started on Skyrim.
Oh,
And
I love Skyrim.
Yeah, she does too. She probably spends more time on it now than I ever did, and which I love it. We actually we reconnect, like as far as gaming concerned, we reconnected the other day, and she's like, "Hey, do you want to do Skyrim and coffee?" And we just chat over Discord, and we both play Skyrim, and we just catch up on life. And I'm like, this is such a weird timeline for humanity, but I kind of love it. I'm like, I live so far away from my family, and here I am playing Skyrim with my sister-in-law and just catching up on life. It's just so funny. And now she knows more like the gamer lingo than my brother does.
That's impressive.
Yeah. It got on his nerves a little bit when all of a sudden he realized how much better at video games and stuff like that. Well, the thing is too, my brother is not an online gamer. He likes to be by himself. He doesn't want to interact. When he plays video games, the last thing he wanted to do is interact with other people. He's very much to himself. He's a friendly guy, but he's like, I just want to be left alone. Whereas my sister-in-law loves being with people. And so then she discovered
gamer words.
She discovered guilds and things like that. Oh, she is heavy into ESO, Elder Scrolls Online. Like she and I, that used to be like our weekend thing. And then she outgrew me, basically. Like I used to know more gamer lingo than she did. And all of a sudden she's like throwing out all the acronyms. Dude, AFK and PvP and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know what this means. What are you talking about? Wait a minute. And she outgrew me and found a guild and started playing on her own. And then by the time I came around because I was working and stuff like that, I'm like, hey, you want to play ESO? She's like, I'm kind of over it now. I'm like, oh, crap.
My husband plays ESO, and he has a meeting every single night at 8:00 with a guy in Georgia that he plays with. Like, it's cool. It works out. I think it's neat that because there's no other reason that he would have ever made friends with this dude who's in his 70s in Georgia, but they play games online, and I think it's great. He's a nice guy. We visited him. It's cool.
Oh, wow. You actually went out
to Florida.
The real world and met.
Yeah,
we drive to Florida every year, so it's kind of on the way. If we're driving from New York to Florida, there's a lot of space in between, so it makes things interesting.
No, I've met people I played games with as well. There was like one, I think it was like 2018 or 2019. There was a lady that was in my guild, and she's like, "Hey, I want to come over for the holidays." And I was like, "Don't you have like 3 kids and a husband?" She's like, "Yeah, I need a vacation." I was like, "Sure, come on over." And she did. She came over for a whole week.
Wow.
Was it weird?
Yeah. She was actually pretty low key and easy to work with. Like, we took her to the botanical garden and like showed her like actual Mexican food because like where she lives, I didn't like it was not Tex-Mex. It was like less than Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
So we brought her to actual places, and then she taught us like 5-minute dungeon and all this other stuff. And it was interesting because it was definitely like that moment of like, I just told a person that I only know online that they can come to my house. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Well, that's what happened the first time with this dude. I mean, he was a retired police guy. So I'm like, he's probably all right. But like, we just met him for dinner the first time. And then we stayed over at his house once. And then we invited him up here and we took him to Niagara Falls. And he's like, I don't need to go see Niagara Falls. I've seen it on the TV. And we're like, no, you have to go see it in person.
Yeah, no.
So.
Yeah, she's really interesting. She works for an ABC group, as I like to call them, and basically she does like financial forensics. So they send her a whole bunch of spreadsheets, and she basically says who's money laundering. And I'm like, wow, like way to make your Asian show.
Cool.
She's like, I know.
Fancy.
But it's so I guess it kind of goes back to how we started. It's so weird, these people that you know online, and then you see them in real life, and they're like people, and they have like, you know, dogs and families, and you're like,
Theo.
And I
right?
met Anne, and I was like, wow, you really are tall.
She's super tall, and I'm not a short woman. She's tall.
I was so happy that you came and helped us at MegaCon, mostly because you were tall. So when people were like trying to walk through you, they're like, oh no, she a tall bitch, and they walked around you.
I let in a couple strays, though. I still feel bad. I
They
feel
were
like I was
children.
on the
It's
spot.
okay.
I lit in a couple of strays.
I mean, yeah, and you gotta be nice to the kids, right?
Well, that's actually how I met Tabitha, because Tabitha was like at my booth and behind the table, and I was like, "Who is this?" And they're kind of like, "Oh no, she's cool." I was like, "Okay, like is she?"
She's cool. She's cool.
She's fine, but why are you behind my table in my space? Excuse me.
I had like my professional smile, being like, "Somebody explain this to me."
Carolyn, don't stand in front of the merchandise.
She's so particular about that because she just wants to walk to the merch, and if people are like in her way, she's like, "Bah!"
I mean, it makes sense. You know, I'm like, I am happy to acquiesce.
I can help you. So what you do is when she gets like that, you just pull out a Dr. Pepper, and she's like, "That's fine. That's all you have to do. Just have like the little mini cans, right?"
Cool.
I'll remember that.
pull 'em out
I
of your
will.
Yeah, and then if you want, you could throw them to the side, and then she'll like chase after it, and you can get away.
Rosa, to bring this to you, my hands will be all trembling. My lord, this is a gift. Does it please you?
And just like her face will just blossom. Just thank you.
She's like, "Oh, that's not so bad."
She's so great. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were in Denver together. Denver was interesting because we both come from like, you know, more oxygen rich areas, right? So when we went to Denver, we're like, right? But like every morning, like I would walk over to like her room and like hand her a Dr. Pepper, and she's like, "Today's a good day."
I was surprised that that didn't bother me. I was a little bit concerned because, you know, obviously elevation and all this kind of stuff. I live in Florida. I mean, I would assume it's pretty low in comparison to Colorado. And so, I don't know. I felt fine. I was disturbed by the people more than the lack of, I guess.
They were definitely touchy.
Well, and then the people on the street. I know.
Oh, okay. See, I was trying to be graceful and not talk about the homeless population out there, but that was definitely interesting. Like my two favorite homeless stories in Denver, right, was the guy that decided to grab like the empty bottle of soda and put it on the ground and then just start doing spinnies around it. And like, I was like, "Are you okay?" And he kept doing spinnies. And then my second favorite story was when I was trying to escort the Thoska sister somewhere, and a homeless guy walked up to us and he pulled his stuff out and just started to like fondle himself in front of us. And I was like, "I need you to walk away." And he was just like really intense. And I was like, "Man, I got baton. I am ready."
See, I sort of witnessed that. Like I was in my Uber on the way to the hotel and I see the Saska sisters and they're like try to wave and I see them kind of like laughing and like giggling to themselves. Like, okay, they didn't see me. And then later on, I was like, yeah, I saw you on the street. I was waving. They're like, well, we just saw a guy just having a moment.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I didn't witness that part.
Yeah, and let me tell you, you can't go anywhere with the Saska sisters without either being stopped or recorded. Because at one point I was like, "This is an empty place. Like, there's nobody here. We can sit down and have a moment." No, like immediately somebody came out with a camera and just started recording us. I was like, "Bro,
Yeah.
like we're literally at an empty table in a park area, and we're doing is talking, and you got to come out and record it. Like, what's going on? Like, you're not even trying to talk to us. You're just recording us from afar, like a weirdo. Like,
yeah, celebrities. What are you gonna do?
People are weirdos. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, they do. They do this kind of.
And
my
apparently
favorite.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying my favorite is that like because I'll then work behind the booths and these things. It's I guess because I'm like the new person, people will come and be like, "So how'd you do it?" Like,
How'd you do what?
yeah, like get in. Like, I don't know, I'm a nice person. I work hard.
They
I love
invited
my
me?
mother. I pay my tithes. I don't know. Like, I don't know why I'm here. No, but it is weird. It's like this happened in Texas. I was helping the Geeks and Gamers table, and X-Ray Girl had to come and save me. I didn't realize I needed rescuing until after the conversation, and some middle-aged gentleman came up to me and he was like, "Hey, so what's your name?" I'm just like, "Oh, being friendly." I'm like, "My name's Tabitha, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "Yeah." Literally like this bobbing and then a pause. "So how'd you do it?" He's like, "Yeah, get in." And like, oh, and all of a sudden, like really loud X-Ray Girl's like, Tabitha, go over here. I need your help. And I'm like, excuse me 1 second. And I go over there. She's like, "I rescued you," because she has like this California Valley Girl accent, which is so fun. "I rescued you." I'm like, "Thank you." She's
which
like,
is funny because we had to pick her up later. I'd be like, "Hey, how are you doing?" She's like, "I'm great." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, who's taking you home?"
yeah, I know. She just looked at me. She's so funny. She's so sweet and so funny. And I didn't know how to respond. Like a lot of times this is new for me. It's not really my scene. And she just smiles up at me and just so happy. And she's like, "I am drunk as F." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I don't drink, so it's not my scene. I don't know what to do. I'm like, yeah, do I call you a cab? Do I message a friend? Do I call your mother? Like, well, just let me know what I need to do. Was this a cry for help or are you just spreading the joy? Like, but she was fine. Then yeah, everybody else was good. But it was so funny.
There was over at the Florida meetup that we went to after MegaCon, like one of my friends, like I walked over to him. I was like, "Hey man, like I thought you weren't drinking." He's like, "Oh yeah, I've been drinking for 6 months." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like, how many shots have you had?" He's like, "I've had 7." I was like, 7?
Oh,
Wow,
Wow.
that's a lot after 6 months of sobriety. He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "How are you getting home?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna sleep in my car with the engine on." I was like, "Oh no, you're not."
Yeah, no, that's not a. I mean, I don't know how Florida feels about that, but here in New York, that
Oh no, if you're drunk and in the car and the car's on, it's a DUI. So I went over, I was like, I've never met you before. Have you been drinking? They were like, "No." I was like, "Can you take my friend home?"
Yeah, no. I just know that New York's super strict about everything, so I assume that most states aren't the same. Because
I know Florida is, just because I say we, like I still live there. I lived there for a couple of years, but we had tourists, and tourists are really great about getting drunk and like leaving the place trashed.
It sounded like you said Taurus, like the zodiac sign, and I'm like, I don't know much about that, but I could see where they inclined to drink.
The people that bring like whatever version of the COVID it's there, and they bring it and they spread it and then they leave, and then they basically blame us for not wearing like face masks and stuff.
A con crud.
Yeah. I'm not in Florida anymore, but I do miss it.
Yeah, do you? Is it better than Texas? Different?
I like the environment more. Like one of the things I used to do is like when I would get off work is I'd get my hammock in the back of, on my deck where like, my little swamp was, and I would just kind of like lounge and like let the heat like, bake into my skin and stuff like that. And I was totally into it. You can't really do that out here. They're kind of like, oh, you should put socks on your feet. We don't do bare feet women out here. And I'm like, oh man, what do I do?
What? Why?
Oh,
Why should you not be barefoot?
I mean, it's a joke. It's because they're conservative.
We all took you very seriously. Like,
No.
What is this
I was
exposed
concerned about
foot?
that.
Like,
No.
You know, some people are weird about feet, man. You have to be
I mean, some
Victorian
people are.
about it. You're like closed-toed sandals here on out.
I love the lizards here. I love that I can wake up every day and just greet lizards outside my home. It's my favorite.
That's always fun. My kids are scared of them. Well, they were.
They're so harmless. They really are. Like they'll like see you walking, they'll like skitter across in front of the sidewalk.
But they run under your feet is the problem. They like panic and then they go in the wrong direction.
I'm not gonna tell you how many I stepped on.
I have yet to do that, and I try my best. I try to greet them, maybe because I'm friendly towards them. I try to let them know that I'm thinking about them and I want them to have a good day.
They can feel the pureness of your heart as you go by. They know.
Well, I tell people because it's like, how would you like to go your whole life and nobody asks how your morning is doing? So.
I mean, that's the thing.
No, I grew up in Panama, so these tiny lizards are nothing compared to like the giant 6-foot iguanas that would be in our backyards all the time. So,
right.
How do you feel about the Panama Canal?
I think it's great. Take it back.
Nice segue.
It's great. No, I've seen it.
Specific political opinions about the ownership thereof, or
what?
Oh, maybe not. Fine.
It's one of those things where I don't know. I haven't done enough of a study, to be honest, about Panama Canal. As far as the situation that it's in right now, is it helping Panama? I understand that like we gave it away, or however isn't that what the situation was? Like we gave it back to Panama and then they sold it to China or something like this. Is that how the story goes? So in my personal opinion, no backsies. Like if we gave it away, then it's not really ours to take back. But but at the same time, kind of going to what we were talking about, I'm like, proud American. Heck yeah, take it back. Let's do it.
Other people are just taking things. So let's just take things.
I'm just like, you know what? I'd be okay with Greenland. I'd be okay with the Panama Canal. Let's do it. Like, why not? It's been a while since America has conquered stuff. I think, why not? Let's take it back. Let's go get it.
It'll be a great warm up for Mars.
I wasn't ready for that.
What conquering stuff?
Yeah, I wasn't ready.
It's been a while. You know what?
Listen, we're trying to take Canada and make it the 51st state right now.
Yeah,
I'm against that. I want Canada to only be a territory, if that.
Yeah.
We don't need any. Yeah,
it'll swing the votes so radically if we allow
Not
them. They
if
need
you
to prove
give
themselves. Okay, we'd give them a little liberty. Like, okay, you can
They
be
need
like
to butch
Puerto
up
Rico. Okay, but you're not really one of us.
We'd have to talk to them about their maid service. Be like, yo, this thing that you do kind of illegal here, and they'd be like, oh no, we're totally into it. It's like, yeah, but we're not.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Carol. Like, if we got them, that would have to end. We're done. Thanks. Good.
We have to talk about that and like the whole like pronoun thing. It'd be like, okay, well if you do this, you go to jail. It's like, oh man, all of you are gonna go to jail because you know what? Me being the smart ass that I am, they would like use one pronoun, be like, no, you're wrong. Go to jail.
Not only that, it's like, what's with this French nonsense? No, it's out.
Oh man,
No,
like I worked at a bank at one point, and we had somebody that was like from Quebec that had an account with us, right? And so when I was in the call center, I got contacted because I spoke enough French for like conversation. I was like, hey, can you talk to this person? So I looked it up, and I was like, tell them that if they don't speak English, you're going to hang up on them, right? Like that's all I told them. And like, well, we just want you to talk to him. I was like, trust me, it's going to work. And so they told the guy, it's like, hey, if you don't speak, English, we're going to hang up on you. Magically, he spoke English. It was amazing. It was a Christmas miracle, guys.
Yay.
Yeah. I think that most of them that speak French also speak English, right?
Yeah, because
Isn't that how that works?
they speak English first, and then they speak French everywhere else. So yeah, it's Duolingo. So it's just the fact that he was coming in and being so the thing that tipped me off is that he opened up the bank account in the location, right? So French speaking people like in banks, like that's not a thing. So the fact that you walked into a location, you opened up a bank account tells me that you spoke enough English to open up the bank account.
Right.
But you decided to call the call center and be a little fucking smart ass. Like,
From what I understand in Quebec, there's like a divide going on right now where they're trying to make it that it's French only. And that if you don't speak French, you're actually looked down upon and you don't get as many job opportunities.
it's bullying.
Really?
Yeah, no, they like to bully, like, and the way that they try and bully each other, like now they're just doing it with language at this point. So,
And that the French, more French-like Canadians are a lot more snooty towards the other types of Canadians, which just goes to show that once again, you cannot eradicate racism and prejudice because it is a matter of the heart.
Exactly. It's a matter of being French. Those guys suck.
and you can't even work with the French. You can't even work with the French because if you have like a French employee, but you're an American company and you have to send them to go and work with another French person, not only do you have to pay them whatever like their typical like, wages, but then the Canadian government will come and fine you for working with a Canadian employee for a Canadian customer, right? As an American. And it's just like,
I just love Anne's delivery. The French suck.
they do.
I know. I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble with that in
That was
future.
so
Are you? Because I think the French could use a spanking right now. I'll be completely.
I think so. I mean,
like
I
the
have
Olympics, the cathedral, like everything else. I'm like, if we just like come and sit on you for like a little while, maybe that will help. I don't know.
I feel like we should have rebuilt Notre Dame. Forget the French. We should have just built it here.
My favorite part was like, we're gonna take your Statue of Liberty back, and I was like, fucking come and take it.
Yeah.
like,
I'd like to see
with
you
what
try.
boat? With what boat are you gonna take the Statue of Liberty?
Like after
Gonna
so
go
many
get your little
decades, you're
sawzall
like
up there. Go do that.
Indian givers.
But yeah, I've
Oh my
also
God.
referred to that they're more polite than friendly in your interactions with them.
I don't want to talk all the trash about the French people because we have Melanie who's going to come on soon, and we like her a lot, and she's from Quebec.
Melanie, I'm sure you're delightful, but your country's trash.
But I bet you that there's a huge difference, though. I bet you that real French people don't want to have anything to do with, I don't know what they call it, Quebecans, whatever they're called.
I don't know what they call them. Yeah.
They probably don't care 2 cents about.
It's like how we think about California. That's how I view it.
Yeah, it just like that's not them, right? That's like an off-brand of them. It's probably the way the English look at America. Like it's just like they're not us. Like they're not us. They speak English, but they're not us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
my goodness.
I have a weird question, and we usually ask this sooner, but what are you guys working on?
Well, I showed off my hat. I took a break because I had to think more about it. So
Thinking pauses. I'm working on, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'm working on this here. It's going to be I think I might do this in watercolor. It's going to be a picture of, well, Cinderella's glass slipper, which is going to be really hard to do. And I've got this blade with some blood dripping on it because, well, spoiler, but in the real story of Cinderella, the stepsisters don't try to just force their feet into an uncomfortable shoe. They actually chop off their toes in order to put it into the slipper. And the slipper actually wasn't made out of glass. It was made out of silk, but that's fancy. But yeah, the original story of Cinderella is quite gruesome. The stepsisters, actually, one of them also gouged, birds came and gouged out her eyes. Like it's a whole thing. By the way, these are German fairy
I
tales.
haven't read the original. Perhaps I should.
Oh,
Yes.
originals are always worth it, man.
The Grimm fairy tales, like they're supposed to be made for children. By modern standards, they are not made for children.
Well, the reason she was called Cinderella is because she kept cleaning the cinders out of the fireplace, right? So
Yeah.
she was always covered in soot, right? Which
Yeah.
is why she looked so magical because she took a bath.
Yeah, exactly. She took a bath.
You get the goose girl. You get what's the one weird one with the rings and the wine where they were killing girls?
I don't
Forget.
know that.
That's
I
a
haven't read
lot.
all of them. I know there's a story called like the juniper, and I don't know the whole story, but basically like the stepmother is mad at her stepson and she lures him over to a box. There's an apple inside of it, and when he leans over to reach in for the thing, she closes the box on the here. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say.
Wow.
Didn't end very well. I mean, that's like the same thing with I was saying with like Snow White. Like on my channel, I dove into that story, and it's really dark. It's really gruesome. Like the evil queen. I mean, it's bad enough that in the stories, modern adaptations, that she required her heart from the huntsman, but actually she wanted her lungs and her intestines so that she could boil
Give
them
me
and
her
eat them.
insides.
Yeah, the queen was going to eat
Wow.
them.
So
Germans.
Germans. What are you gonna do? I mean, you know, again, not known for her affection. You're like, let me just tell little Klaus a bedtime story about this evil stepmother who hated her son.
Nighty night, Klaus.
I facilitate a book club at our co-op, and we've been reading Agatha Christie, but we're thinking about switching for next semester. And I wonder if we should read some like real fairy tales.
Yeah,
Some
that's
Grimm's
the
like,
reason.
that sounds cool.
So the reason like we say something is Grimm is because it's named after the brothers. Their last name was Grimm. So like when we say
Right. I mean, I know
really
who they are
grim.
and stuff. I just never.
But it's like their
thought about
name
it.
became their name basically became an adjective. So
Yeah.
it's like, man, that's a really grim story. Well, because it could
Interesting.
probably belong in their world. So yeah, the Brothers Grimm. Yeah, I think there's supposed to be something. I haven't done the full research on Rapunzel, but that's probably not quite as cutesy as you think
Rapunzel
it is either.
No.
You know Rapunzel? I know.
Yeah, I know
stuff.
Rapunzel.
She's like, yeah, I met her. She's French.
I know that girl.
Let me tell you, the dude in the Rapunzel story, he has it rough, man.
Oh, they all do, don't they? Also, Snow White was 7 when all this happened, by the way. She wasn't a teenager. She was 7 when the prince came and rescued her.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of like, I hate saying this, that was the norm at the time. There's one of the Dr. Jack Crawford, who is the Norse expert here in America about, you know, basically all Norse mythology and old Norse language and stuff like that. He's very interesting. If you guys like have some time and you want to listen to like a cowboy suddenly speak Old Norse, like that would be the channel to go to.
Ooh.
Yeah, but he did a book where he translated the Poetic Edda, right? And one of the first things that he did in the author's note was like, I need you guys to understand that when the Poetic Edda happened, it was a different time and a different place. So if you are a person that is sensitive to things, maybe you should read another book.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Having flipped, I haven't read the Poetic Edda. I flipped through the Poetic Edda. Let me tell you, Thor is okay with some things.
He's an asshole. Like every time
he's
people,
bad.
yeah, like the Marvel version of Thor. I'm like, no,
Mm-mm.
no.
The Kenneth Branagh version of very, very nice, very respectable.
Yeah, and I'm like my heart goes out to freaking Loki because like Loki's kind of like the guy that just like walks into the room and like, God damn it, Loki. And he's like, I didn't do anything. And they're like, fix it. And he's like, I didn't do it. And they're like, fucking fix it. And he's like, okay, I fixed it.
Okay,
Like I had sex with the horse. Okay, like what else do you want? Like you want my children? What?
Yeah. Okay, my personal favorite story, it's a children's storybook of the Norse myth, but it's by Patrick Colum. Again, it was written about early 1915 children's book for kids. So it's that perfect in between where the illustrations are beautiful. And yeah, they like cleaned up the story a little bit, but so a 1915 kid could get it, not a modern kid.
Right.
So we still have the story with the one gal and her 12 brothers, and her husband wanted to kill them all. So he tied them all up in the woods in the woods, but she felt sorry for the youngest brother only. So she put honey on his face. So when the wolves would come to eat them, one of the wolves would lick his face. So he then bit the wolf's tongue, and in the thrashing, he was able to get free. And that's in the children's version of the story. So I'm like, okay, so there's more stuff going on. But they beautifully, beautifully written, beautifully illustrated. Like, buy that one for your kids. That's a good one.
Kids are just
Loki
kids are
and
so
Thor and
soft
everybody.
these days. Can't handle a little aggressive wolf face eating.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
so
Hansel and Gretel, like parent abandonment into the woods, because they're all going to starve. So starve by yourself. They're kind of like, oh no, my parents would love me. It's like, oh, but would they?
The witch would eat
No.
them. Yeah. So then they put her. Yeah, it's terrible. It's what's fascinating too about fairy tales is like even with mixed in with mythology. I did a little bit of study on that too. It's so fascinating why in fairy tales or mythology, women. Well, it's been said, historically that poison is the woman's weapon. And it's interesting when you look at the correlation between poison and fruit that it's the vessel it's a deceptive vessel because women are supposed to be known for their nurturing and everything like this. And so what does the typically historically also within mythological stories is when women want to exact revenge on somebody or do something devious, it usually comes in the form of something pleasant that would otherwise be like a hostess gift. So it comes in the form of fruit, typically. Like was
Like
it
the apple from Snow White.
the apple and Snow White? And then there was oh, what's it? There was something with Persephone when she was
The
doing
pomegranate.
and then also this other one, I have a hard time with some of these names, Euripides or whatever, the golden apples with Hercules and all these kinds of things. Like there's always these trails that when you look at it, and even like I said, historically, it's like women will poison their husband's food or they will poison so and so's drink. Usually something that you give as a sign of welcome and nurturing. It suddenly has become this like I said, this vessel for evil. And
The Trojan
so
horse of womanhood.
the Trojan horse of womanhood. I like that. And so yeah, nowadays, we've kind of turned that around where it's like, hey, it's somebody's birthday. Let me make them something. Or you go over to somebody's house and you bring, apple tarts or something like that. But it's like, oh, never trust a woman with fruit. Never fully trust a woman with fruit. And actually, in the South, the pineapple is fascinating. If you travel through the South, you'll see it in a lot of the architecture. It's just these random pineapples, right? And in the South, that was a symbol that was used, or it was actual pineapple when they would host get-togethers at each other's houses. It was a discreet way of letting people know that they needed to leave. So if there was, I believe it was if you left the pineapple on the mantelpiece, because that's typically where you'll find carvings and stuff like that of pineapples, either that or the entranceway of houses. That if you see the pineapple, it means that you are welcome here. And whenever the host or the hostess was like, okay, you guys need to leave. But you were never supposed to, because Southern hospitality is a huge thing. You can't just ask your guests to leave. She would casually remove the pineapple from the mantelpiece. And then when people would notice that it was missing, they would leave at their discretion.
The interesting thing is in England, if you don't offer somebody a cup of tea, like that's the nonverbal of like get out, right? Which the first time I moved to England, people would come over and I wouldn't give them tea, so they would leave, and I would always be like, "Why'd you even come over?" Right? And so like my dad had to explain it to me.
Why did you even come over?
Why are you here?
Why are you here?
Why are you here? Like I was watching Spawn.
I know I had an Iranian neighbor, and like that is so heavy and prevalent in Middle Eastern culture is to offer somebody food and beverage. And like we would go to her house and she's like, "Are you thirsty? You want some tea?" I'm like, "No, we're good." And you could not be in her house and not partake of something. So even if you said no, thank you, she was still going to get you black tea. And she was going to make you a little plate of pistachio nuts and honey treats and all this kind of stuff every single time. And it's fascinating, just different cultures, how there's so many things that are intertwining, but very different. And I love it. I love all the different cultures, despite my mom's bitterness against the Polish.
Love all the people.
Love all the people. I think every culture.
Darn Polish.
brings something. Those darn Polish. Not what I signed up for. I know. So now it's like when I actually meet a Polish person, I did this. I can tend to be socially awkward when I'm by myself. Surprise, surprise. And I went to this new church and I decided to go to one of the women's gatherings by myself. Huge mistake. I mean, I had fun, but still, I was so uncomfortable. And there was a lady there who was Polish. And I don't know why. I was just like, oh, that's funny. Are we allowed to like talk to each other? I'm German. And she just kind of looked at me like, this is an old joke. I didn't know what to do. I just was the first thing that came into my mind. And I'm like, you're so stupid.
It's like
We've all done it.
it's like you should have known this. They don't know you hate them.
Right.
keep
Yeah.
it to
Yeah.
yourself.
My go-to icebreaker is to bring up old, outdated prejudices between countries.
Hey.
Oh, it's terrible.
And we've all done it.
No,
We've all
you're
done it.
delightful. Don't let anybody tell you differently.
Right. Well, it's not so much other people. People tell me I'm delightful all the time, and I greatly appreciate that because it's what I tell myself. I'm like, you're so stupid.
3 times in the mirror before leaving the house. So it's important.
I'm delightful.
I will not talk about race. I will not talk about prejudice. I'd say.
I will be a good person somehow.
I am a delight, and I'm going to ace this social gathering.
Yes.
I'm a make friends.
I will make friends. I will not just hang out with the person's dog at the party.
No, I will always hang out with the dog.
Yeah. Terrible.
That's what happened. Like I went over to somebody's house like over the weekend. They're like, "Oh, you don't mind dogs, do you?" I was like, "Oh man, your dog and I are about to be best friends."
The more the merrier. How dare that dog abandon me and go talk to somebody else?
Like, come back. I have cheese.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Well, guys, we are at the 2-hour mark.
We are.
Thanks for letting us gab. That was great.
Yeah.
I didn't know
My
how
little
long your show
people.
normally goes. So
We usually go around 2 hours, and because it starts with me having to cook them dinner, and then it ends with me having to leave so I can put them to bed. So
it's just
about how
referring
long
to
is
them
that?
as them, not my family.
no, I don't.
My loved ones, them. I have to feed them.
Mom again. She's like,
I keep my children
family.
vague.
I understand.
But no, yeah, it's unfortunately we don't go much longer because I have the little people that aren't as little as they used to be, but they still like me to do things with them. So
Which is nice.
as long as they want me to tuck them in, that's what I'm gonna do.
Absolutely.
Until it gets real weird, but we're fine
Right.
still.
Yeah, you draw the line at 37,
Yeah, I mean, once it gets like real old, we'll talk. But as of now, it's fine. So,
They're like, you took me in.
yeah, no, but for real, like I got one that's up late, and I'm like, dude, if you don't get ready for bed, I'm gonna be sleeping. You're out of luck, so But it's been lots of fun. I'm really, really glad you came today. Thanks
Thank you
for
inviting me.
telling us about your art and
awkwardness.
Polish people. And
Totally fangirled. I didn't know you were going to be here, and then you were, and I was like, "Wow, what an amazing day!" I get to.
I
spend
didn't
time
know
with
you were gonna be here
Tabitha.
either, and so I saw your name. I'm like,
Oh. Sorry, I love
Well, thank
Tabitha.
you. We're always happy you're here too. It was lots of fun.
I worked on this
I was like,
shawl.
whatever.
Oh, we
I
never
worked on
asked
this
you
Never asked
what
you.
you're
Hi.
making.
How's your shawl?
Yeah, this is the shawl I made with sock yarn because I hate myself.
Are you keeping
Is
it,
that
or
a-
is your grandma gonna steal it?
No, Nana ain't taking this one. So Tabitha,
Oh,
to
this
let you
one
know,
she's
I
not
made
allowed
like
to.
this. I made like a really like elaborate like shawl that took me like 3 months to make, and I went to like Christmas, and my Nana saw it. And she's like, "Oh, I love that shawl," and I was like, "Fuck."
You
Like,
can't fight Nana.
Yeah, and so like at one point, I was like, "Nana, do you want my shawl?" She, I could not take your shawl. I could not take your shawl. I could not. And I was like, "You want to try it on?" She, I would love to try it, and she's put it on. I was like, "Oh, last touch, it's yours."
So you just write a little sticky note and leave it under the door. When you pass, please leave me my shawl in the will.
No, it's gonna go with in the grave at this point. Yes, Cassie, this is with the sparkle yarn. So like chicken
Ooh.
finger lady that we were telling you about earlier, Tabitha,
Chicken
she made a
lady.
yarn for me. She made a yarn, and it's called Sparkle Troll because I like to say sparkle, and I like to troll people. I thought it was really
Nice.
thoughtful.
That's so great.
I bought like all of the yarn.
Oh, I bought all the yarn.
I bought all of it. I was like, it's just all right. Okay, I'm done. I'm done dominating your
No,
stream. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry we forgot to ask you what you were making. It was a weird night. I'm sorry, friends.
No, I was having a great time. Tabitha was here. And I was like,
time.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for coming and hanging and chilling, and we will see you guys again soon. Where can they find you? I don't do this because it's usually just me and Ann, but Tabitha, they can find you on Dreaming Tabitha Live.
Yes, Dreaming Tabitha Live. I'm also on the Twitterverse, the Xverse, Twix, whatever you want to call it, Instagram. Dreaming Tabitha, pretty simple. Except for a kick, I do gaming over there, and it's Dreaming_Tabitha because I decided.
Oh, fancy.
Actually, I think Kick required it, so I had to do it.
Yeah. Carol, anything new with you before we
yes, yes, we might start fulfillment on a thing that I wrote soon.
go? Ooh.
So
We might, sure.
We might, yeah.
Well, you know what'll happen with that? Ann will tell us because she'll get hers. Because we know that Ann's already ordered it. So
Man, I
whatever.
have an extra. Do you want me to send it now?
Aw, thanks. No, I have my copy. It's all ordered, everything. I'm very excited. I mean the thing for Yaira 3 just came out. I'm very excited about Jack Herbert drawing. So, I mean, maybe we can get a couple slightly more realistic butts.
I mean, like I've been trying to advocate for hot bodies. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, no. It's not that Yaira shouldn't be hot. It's just two very round, very separate butt cheeks, very prominent.
Oh, I can't help you with that.
Yeah,
It's like reading a book in 3D.
No. See, you're talking about like Brazilians drawing butts. Like they've got like
that's a part of their culture, which we respect here. This is a culture respecting channel.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, oh man,
for the French.
Yeah.
French.
It's
always on thin ice.
It's always my favorite because it's like sometimes at like conventions, people are like, can we talk to you about this Yaira butt? And I was like, yeah, my artist is Brazilian. They're like, never mind.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. So, all right. So fulfillment, Dreaming Tabitha. We'll be back on Saturday morning. So cool. Thanks everybody for coming. We will see you later. Bye.
We wave now. I'm waving.